In the words of President John F. Kennedy, one man who may be asked what he did to make his life worthwhile can respond with a great deal of pride and satisfaction that I served in the United States Navy. We're here to recognize a gentleman who answered his country's call. As a baby-faced young man, fresh out of high school, Bradley Victor Ostby enlisted in the United States Navy. He graduated from the Naval Air Technical Training Center in September of 1966 as an honor student. There you go. With training in aviation ordnance. He deployed on November 5th, 1966 aboard the USS supercarrier Kitty Hawk to the Western Pacific and directly into the Vietnam conflict. The USS Kitty Hawk received a Presidential Unit Citation for exceptionally meritorious and heroic service in 1968 while participating in combat operations in Southeast Asia. During a ceremony recognizing this citation for the USS Kitty Hawk, it was stated that this ship is being recognized in professional circles as having been on Yankee Station during the toughest part of the war and against the most heavily defended area in the world. In 1969, Brad was recognized for his outstanding performance of duty as a leading petty officer in G Division of the U.S. 7th Fleet. Upon completion of his military service, Brad has gone on to be a very active community member in Argyle and the surrounding communities. Just a few of Brad's efforts have been serving on the Argyle Village Board for 27 years. He's been a member of the Volunteer Firemen, the EMTs, the Argyle Legion Post 251, a member of Historic Argyle, has been a member of many local theater groups, as well as many other things that Brad gets involved in, which he doesn't always ask to, they come to him. He was also instrumental in getting the airplane for the Argyle Area Veterans Memorial. Brad's a member of the Vietnam Veterans of America organization, and on June 22nd, 1996, received an Outstanding Achievement Award for his work. Because Brad is a jack of all trades and an incredibly selfless person, he's often asked to undertake many interesting jobs, whether it be a woman who stopped by with a cat's head stuck in a jar at the garage for him to remove, or getting a call to put a refrigerator door on that just happened to fall off of one community member. Brad has always been willing to jump in whenever he's asked. An incredibly special thank you to Denise and Pat for making the Quilt of Honor. I understand that it was originally going to be a real small gathering where just a couple people until Bernie got involved. So thank you though, Denise and Pat, for letting the rest of us be involved in this. We appreciate it. When discussing the making of the quilt with Pat, I was struck with several thoughts. She stated that normally a quilt would be machine sewn, but these ladies put it together with their hands. Felt that this was much like Brad's role in holding family and community together. Felt these ties holding this together, this would be just a piece of cloth. These ties make it into something special, much like Brad. Otherwise, they'd just be pieces of cloth. Part of the quilt was also made from a comforter. Brad is quick to take this role with many of his family and friends. His support and caring has meant a lot to many of us. Also, in describing this quilt, Pat stated that it's not necessarily a fancy or dazzling quilt, but one that's simply stated and unpretentious, with deeper meaning. These words hit me pretty hard, and I think you will agree that they seem to fit Brad as well. At this time, I would like Pat and Denise to present Brad with the quilt.
Here we go.
Oh, there's pictures. It's beautiful.
That's great. Love it.
This part was the comforter, and we weren't sure what to do, so, you know, measuring and cutting and everything, so we got this. And then Pat found this, and I kind of pinned it, and she put it on, and she did the rest. This is also part of the original piece of cloth. And the back, well, you're such a shining star. A little bit of bling for Brad here. So we'd like to put this around.
Well, if you...
Here, let's wrap that. Yeah, but that's all right. It's the other way around. This is for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody